Hello, hello, hello. You are absolutely welcome to my channel. My name is Rola. Thank you all for stopping by to check out this video. In this channel, so far at the moment, what I'm sharing at this moment is just my personal life story as a widow. I'm not the first widow, and I've never been the first widow. I'm sure there's many other widows that's come after myself as well, since I lost my husband. And I know I will not be the last as well. But I'm just personally sharing my story just to speak to anyone out there that may be able to learn one or two things from my personal life story that I share on this channel at this very moment. At this very moment. And I have titled this video one of the craziest things I did and one of the craziest things I almost did after I lost my husband. I'm just going to go straight into it. So after I lost my husband, one of the craziest things I used to do quite a lot, and what stopped me from doing this crazy thing, was the fact that after my husband passed away, I used to go to his burial ground. Yes, it might be crazy to some, and yes, it might not be crazy to some. You might think, oh, it's absolutely normal. What's wrong with that? Yes, I would do that regularly. Some of you may be saying that do that, going to the burial ground. But I was going way too often. I was going so much that maybe after, once I finished dropping my children at school, I'm at the burial ground. Maybe after dinner or something, I'm at the burial ground, just going over to the burial ground as often as possible as I could. I was just missing him, and I'll walk around, I'll probably just stand by his burial ground, I'll just be sharing tears, and sometimes I will say one or two things. I was going there so often. Every time I dropped the children at school, then after he had passed away, I was going there so often. I was going there so secretly as well, not letting my children know or people around me know that I was going there so often. And then one day I had a client, I think it was either later on that year or beginning of the following year. I believe it would have been the following year actually. Yes, I had a client the following year, which would have been 2021. And after seeing, so I had not seen this client for a while, and due to the fact that we had a lockdown during that time, and then when everything started opening back up, and I shared with the client and let her know that I just lost my husband, and she kind of shared with me and tried to encourage me and stuff. And speaking to this client opened up to me and was encouraging me and stuff. And I've been going to this client's place or doing her makeup for about 3 years or so, and actually never knew that she was an ex-widow. So this very particular day, just while I was doing her makeup and all of that, she opened up to me and let me know that she was an ex-widow. All I knew is that she has four quite grown, mature children, and she's married. And I never for a minute of thought that she was an ex-widow. And she did explain to me and said to me that not many people know that she was a widow. She kept it, and she still keeps it quite quiet, that she was an ex-widow, but she's now married again. And just sharing my emotions and stuff with her, and talking, and she was just telling me stories and encouraging me. And I did say, I think maybe she could relate or kind of noticed that I would be going to the burial ground quite often. And she did say to me, from that moment when I let her know how often I used to go to my husband's burial ground while we were talking on that day, she kind of just paused me and stopped me there and tried to say to me I shouldn't do that anymore, and pointed out the reason why I needed to stop going there so often. And one of the reasons why she pointed out to me, and which kind of relates to my belief as a Christian, and what I follow, Christian doctrine that I follow, is the fact that she said to me that as a Christian, the Bible says that let the dead be with the dead and the living be with the living, that I should stop going there often. Yes, I should be thankful and grateful that that one that has a place where he's laid to rest, and I could go there often and visit that. Some out there do not have, some that have lost loved ones one way or the other, maybe on air, on sea, or something like that. Are not they don't have a place, or they can't find the bodies, or don't have a place where the loved ones has been laid to rest, and that one I should be thankful. but I should stop going there because the Bible does say that the dead should be with the dead and the living should be with the living. She understands that, yes, I miss my husband and I should stop going there often. And the moment she shared that with me, kind of saw it in a different light. And also the fact that she was able to open up to me and let me know that, yes, she lost her husband as well when she was quite young, in a quite young. I think maybe she would have been maybe in her early 30s or maybe late 20s. I can't remember the age that she mentioned. And she had two kids with her late husband. And also encouraged me at that time and just said to me, look, not long after she lost her ex-husband, she had two children and she was a young widow, like myself then. And that God was so faithful to her and God was so good to her within, I believe, I can't remember, maybe within 2 3 years or so, she met her current husband, who they've now been married for a number of years, and they're now living happily together. And she was just really just encouraging me and just letting me know that, I'm still young, and to also just trust in God and just really encouraging me really. And that conversation went as it did. And I remember going back there as well, not long after that conversation with this lady, that makeup session I had with her. I think she would have mentioned it to her husband, that a current husband, that I lost my husband. And I remember going back there, the current husband now kind of, he when he opened the door for me on this day that I was going to start a makeup session with the wife, he, while the wife was getting ready and before she sat down for her makeup session, he just kind of just also encouraged me, spoke to me and said, look, you're a young woman, you're, think about it, remarrying again, don't stop your life. And just really started talking and just, saying how he fathered, the other two children, and now, he has two extra ones with this current wife of his, so they have four children altogether between them. And he was just really encouraging me. He was opening up quite a bit from a man's perspective, how things has been for him. But the moment obviously his wife came in, the conversation stopped and we had to start the makeup session. But the words he spoke, the word the wife spoke, really, really encouraged me. And that crazy thing I used to do, going to his burial ground so often, kind of just helped me to stop as well. And I remember her also mentioning that when it's the anniversary of her late husband's death, her and her current husband and the children, they all go together and lay flowers, but they don't go there as often as maybe she used to. And trying to basically tell me to stop doing it as well so often. So she has the support of her current husband, that's just been with her, and God has been so faithful to her that they have a beautiful family and grown young adult children. It's been many years for her now. So that's one of the crazy things I used to do then. And one of the craziest things I almost did as well, was the fact that I remember after, I believe it would have been 2 or 3 months after my late husband passed away, I I remember always wanted to, after 2 3 months after he passed away, someone introduced a prayer line to me. I believe it's called NSBCD. It's quite a popular prayer line for those of you that know of it, by Pastor Jerry Aze. And I remember during that month of October, I believe October or November time, when that prayer link was shared to me, was like, goodness me. I was thinking within myself, how come I did not know about this prayer line before my husband passed? Maybe he would have been still be alive. And for those of you that are familiar with that prayer line, one of the things, it's such a powerful prayer line, and one of the things that the pastor does at the end of that prayer line, towards the end, after towards the end of the prayers are rounding up, is share Holy Communion. And at the back of my mind, then I just used to think, right, God can bring the dead back to life. And one of the crazy, what I thought of doing then was the fact that, because then I used to go to my husband's burial ground so often, is the fact that I wanted to take Holy Communion, the bread, the wine, I wanted to take it to my husband's burial ground and just feed it to the ground, and really wanted to pray him back to life, for him to come back to life. That's how desperate I was to have him back to life. And I just used to stop myself and just I thought about it so many times of carrying out that task, of doing that task and trying to do that. And I remember, I believe it was either my mother that I spoke to, it would have been her actually, and just shared my thoughts with her and talk about what I was planning to do. Again, she now stopped, she stopped me and said to me, look, also remind, back to what my clients told me, and saying that let the dead be, and that if I do that, people will run away from me, because it had been 2.5 or almost 3 months that he had passed away. People would just think what's going on, and they would just call me crazy, and just really, she just kind of said, look, it doesn't seem normal, it doesn't seem right. Yes, I thought about these things because my mind was not in the right place then, when I was thinking of certain things, wanting to do that. And that's one of the things that I realized and I noticed, that when you lose someone, or especially if for myself with my partner, especially with a partner, you're not always there mentally. You're not always there sometimes physically as well. You make decisions that sometimes doesn't make sense. Your mind is not 100% at peace. You're constantly of thinking so many different things. You're not fully there. I'll share more of that, in terms of where my mind was during that time in another video, and how, if you have people like that around, and how you can help and support them as a widow, or anyone around you that there's a widow or widower. So I just noticed that obviously my mind was not 100% there. Yes, I'm leaving, but I was I was bereavement. I was grieving, and I was just really, my mind was not really there. I was not 100% myself in some of the decision I was making during that time. So really, that just really is, one of the crazy things that I did, and I almost did, after I lost my husband. I just want to encourage anyone out there. There is a widow or widower, and oncoming widows as well, whatever, or widows that are widows right now, the ones that have been widows for long, and the ones that are ex-widows, that always remember that you matter, you are number one, and you've got to be okay yourself. You've got to look after yourself. And if you're not okay, you're not going to have the energy and the strength to look after your children, if you have children, and to look after anyone else that may be around you. That's one of the lessons that I kind of, learned, especially during the time when my husband was sick, that I am number one. I have to be okay to be able to look after him when he was sick. And even till now, as a mother of, 3 children, I still tell myself that if I'm not okay mentally, physically, emotionally, I can't pour into my children. I cannot give my children 100%. So always remember that, love yourself, look after yourself, and you have to be okay mentally and physically to be able to pour into your children and give to others. Thank you all for watching this video, and I hope to catch you up in my next one. Thank you. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.